Here is the table. It is Osasuna, who are on 15 points, but they are level on points with Girona, who are inside the relegation zone, so they're going to need to pick up some wins as fast as they can. As for Barcelona, confirmation there, they move 7 points clear of Real Madrid, who play on Sunday. Villarreal got a couple of games in hand on Barcelona as well, so could cut that gap depending on how they get on in those games. Never an easy fixture really against Osasuna, and we saw that in the game. Barca really had to, huff and puff to get those opportunities in the second half, which Raphinha scored. Do you think Hansi Flick's just going to look at that as, look, we got the 3 points against a difficult opponent at home and move on?
Very difficult opponent, and I think sometimes you get very frustrated as well, especially with how deep Osasuna actually sit. There you can see the momentum chart. I mean, it doesn't lie. There was very lack of opportunity coming from Osasuna as they went forward. They had 3 shots, a couple of them on target. All of those opportunities came on the counter-attack, as you saw by Budimir's chance in front of goal. But Barcelona took 24 shots in this game, and it was only a matter of time before they found a moment of magic to be able to break down on Osasuna. And I think Pedri's magic was what created it. It is just brilliant to watch him play football. He's unreal. He has vision like no other player, in my personal opinion, in Spanish football. He reminds me a little bit like Toni Kroos, the way he plays, just the vision. He sees things that other players simply don't see. And I'm really sorry for all those Barcelona fans out there comparing him to an enemy in Toni Kroos, but Pedri he's on his own planet.
And that vision allows him to have so much time on the ball because he, as you said, he sees things before they've almost happened, and that means that he then has the time to play the ball that he needs to.
It's like the play slows down for him. So for him, he sees it before everyone else, including the defenders. But Raphinha had an outstanding game. He'll grab all the headlines. It's great to see him back healthy again, scoring goals. Got his 5th, got his 6th. Obviously, I mentioned earlier the stats, and the reason why I mentioned the stats because he took 31 shots already this season in La Liga, only 8 on target. But from those 8 on target, he's managing to translate them into goals, so 6 goals now in the Liga. So what I want to see from him is more consistency trying to get the ball on target rather than just taking shot from distance and just shooting willy-nilly. He's got to try and be a bit more consistent with hitting the target, and more often than not, he's going to find a goal. But Hansi Flick's finding a way with this team. They're a very good team, and they're much better with this guy in it.
We talked last season, didn't we? Eventually, they came unstuck in the Champions League against Inter Milan, and that inability for Hansi Flick to perhaps rotate as much as he wanted last season. This season, he's doing that very well. Sometimes he's had to because of the injuries to Raphinha, Lewandowski, and a few other players. Do you think he's getting that balance right so far in La Liga and these other competitions, knowing when to rotate and when to not?
I think it sometimes gets difficult for him because when players are healthy, 100% healthy, then it becomes more difficult to try and pick a starting 11 because they're all so good. I mean, Barcelona have got a life of luxury of players who are sitting on the sideline. Majority of them came through their academy. But if you look at the players who came off the bench this time around, right, when you're trying to find a way to get a goal, Frenkie de Jong came off the bench, Fermin Lopez came off the bench, Andres Christensen came off the bench to close it down, Casado came off the bench, and Bartaj came off the bench. I mean, these are talented players that Hansi Flick is clearly just wanting to rotate as best he possibly can to keep happy, and he has to keep them all happy. It's not easy to do at this football club. But yeah, I mean, this was a very good performance, and Hansi Flick has found a way with this group. I think he connects with them on a human level. I don't know if you saw that video recently with Raphinha and the connection they had. It was emotional for Hansi Flick on the sidelines. There's a human element in this group. They look like they're incredibly together. They look like they want to compete, not only to win a domestic title, which of course they now have that gap at the top of the table to be able to do so. I think Barcelona want to compete on multiple levels. They got a big game coming up, obviously, in Copa del Rey. It'll be interesting to see how they handle that. Supercopa España will come up early January, and then it's turning your attention back to what happens in the Champions League, where I don't see them having problems. They've got that game against Slavia Prague in Copenhagen. So yeah, I mean, things are looking incredibly good for Barcelona right now, and I'm really excited to see how it ends for Hansi Flick and his side.
Yeah, it's a 5-game winning streak since that defeat against Chelsea in the Champions League. We saw the new camp there. You've still got one end which hasn't got fans in it, but I think that's also something that's going to come into play as we move through the season, and they can have it full, and it'll be so loud and a brilliant place to play football. Is almost like the 12th man for them. We saw how well they've played in the stadium before it was renovated, and it did take a while for them to get used to playing in the Olympic Stadium. The atmosphere was completely different. So that could also be a factor as we head towards the latter stages of the season for them to be back in a stadium that is, a fortress and difficult for other teams to play in.
Yeah, massively important having that home field advantage, right? You've never had that, having to play in a different stadium, albeit in your same city. I think it's hugely important also for the history of this football club, right? Going to that stadium, redeveloped, will be wonderful because it will help you commercially get more money into the football club, which is why they've gone through this redevelopment. But I do believe that Barcelona need to be playing at Camp Nou. They need to be playing in front of their fans in their stadium, their home, to be the best Barcelona they possibly can be. And I think slowly we're starting to see them overcome their issues. Slowly we're starting to see the squad perform incredibly well and consistently well under Hansi Flick once again and compete. So I'm really intrigued to see how this all plays out. If that stadium's completed anytime in the near future, hopefully before the end of the season, it will be. It doesn't look like it will be, but I would love to see it. I just think that Barcelona will be unstoppable. You're starting to get the sense, Adam, that they're getting back to the old ways, back to the old Barcelona. And hopefully we want to see that. We want to see that as football fans. We want to see Barcelona not only spending a ton of money, we want to see them raising a ton of money and being competitive in the World's game.
Do you think they also, given Real Madrid's recent difficulties, they realise that this is the time, because Real Madrid might find their form and come back, this is the time of the season to get as far ahead as they possibly can, give themselves some breathing room. You know you're going to be involved in La Liga, the Spanish Cups, hopefully the Champions League until the latter stages. If you can get maybe 10 points clear, I mean, they're already 7 points clear. If they can get a bit further clear and Real Madrid don't improve, that's a chance to then rest some more players in games as they come up.
Well, I did say to you about 4 months ago when we were doing the show ahead of the season just kicking off that I think Barcelona will probably prioritise the Champions League. But because Real Madrid are messing up in the fashion that they are doing and Atletico Madrid had their struggles, it looks like Barcelona could potentially run away with the league. But there's a lot of work to be done still with this group of players, and there's a lot of work to be done even in their next game coming up in La Liga. That's not an easy one. You're going up against a Villarreal side away from home who are, I think they're probably the best home side in La Liga outside of Barcelona and Atleti. I mean, they're outstanding at home. So that's a big ask for Barcelona to go there and win that game. But there's a point to be proven for Hansi Flick. A lot of people have bet against this Barcelona side. A lot of people have predicted that Barcelona will crumble because of the age of Lewandowski and the goalkeeping injuries and a new goalkeeper coming in and the centre-back problems and the high-back line. But yet they still find ways to win football games, and they will always find ways to be competitive. So how far away they'll be this season for the Champions League success, I don't quite know yet. I don't know if they're good enough to win the Champions League. But my personal opinion remains, I think that's the one Hansi Flick wants most. I think he wants the Champions League. He might just get gifted La Liga as well.
The discussion about the high line, you mentioned it there, hasn't been quite at the forefront over the last few weeks as it was before that. Have you seen a change in the way they're playing?
Not today. Today was the same. I mean, they were going up against an Osasuna side.
They just haven't been caught out.
They haven't been caught out. They haven't been punished, right? So, yeah, I think they're still playing the same way. They're just not getting punished. And when they do get punished, the high line, of course, gets spoken about so much more. When Barcelona win, no one says much. But when Barcelona lose or they draw games in the high back line, we all raise a fuss. How can you keep playing this way? But Hansi Flick will do what Hansi Flick does best, and that's try to compete. And he believes this is the best way for them to do so. Who are we to bet against them, right? They're competitive, and they'll be competitive once again this season. I would love to see Barca win the Champions League. I would love to see this group of players and Hansi Flick. I have a soft spot for Hansi Flick because he's a German and, of course, did incredibly well with Bayern Munich in that 1 year during COVID. He won everything. I'd love to see him win the Champions League with Barca. That would go down in history.
So job done on Saturday for Barcelona. Will it be job done on Sunday for Real Madrid?